You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we hang out and talk about everything from hammocks and hammock camping to the group hangs from around the country. Alright, what is up everyone, and welcome back to the Hammock Hangers Podcast. I am your host, Paul Collins, or also known as Skunkape, and of course I have my co-host, AJ Glenn, or Phoenix, here with me as well.
Hello everybody.
And our guest this week is actually two people. We have Weston Barnes and Maria Risen from Mr. Mock's Hammocks, which is also one of our HangCon partners, which helps out the event by contributing to the raffle, by making a generous donation of their awesome gear, and also being one of the vendors that is there set up with a booth so guests can ask questions and check out all of their gear. So welcome to the podcast, guys.
How's it going?
Thank you for having us.
Not a problem. Glad y'all can make it. I know we've been trying for a couple of weeks and things weren't lining out at first, but we finally got it.
Paul, I'm so proud of you. You got that your first time.
I know,
good for
right?
you.
I know.
It might be the first time in like 3 weeks.
Shut up. This is the stuff I have to put up with. People don't actually see this because a lot of times I edit this stuff out. But this is what I have to put up with every week with this guy.
Positive reinforcement? I don't know. I'm trying to think of teaching things.
I know. I'm trying to help you out, Paul.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
On the flip side, I have my palm crest over here. So if you get rowdy, I'm going to get crunched. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, then. Anyhow. So let's go ahead and get started with how each of y'all got your start into camping and then how that led into using hammocks whenever you camp.
Well, I guess I'll go first because I got into hammocking first, but
okay.
I grew up camping, so I can't really say that there was like a first memorable time of like getting into camping, but my getting into hammocking story is actually pretty funny because of where I am now. But I was scrolling on Instagram and I came across this really cool picture of this hammock, and I remember telling my mom because I was probably in late high school, but I was like, man, that looks really cool. I want to buy a hammock. And her response was, you shouldn't buy that. You'll never use it. And obviously now that I own a hammock company, that's quite funny, but
right.
That's when I first saw my hammock. And then I did a bunch of shopping around. I was poor. I ended up buying some really cheap Amazon hammock. And it kind of just went from there. Started making my own hammocks. And then now I'm here today. But I have a little hut down in the woods where we used to camp pretty much every weekend when we were in high school and stuff like that. So I've done a lot of hammock camping over the last couple of years.
Okay.
And that would be where my first hammocking experience happened. I camped a lot as a kid. I mean, I grew up in the wilderness on a farm and camped in like the backyard, but never in a hammock. Okay. And we started dating. And before I knew he owned a hammock company, I was at his house and he's like, we're going to sleep outside tonight. And I was like, yeah, haha, that's funny. And he was like,
most people, that would be like, that's a red flag.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm serious. We're going to like sleep in hammocks outside. And I was like, no, we're not, are we? And he's like, yeah, I do it all the time. I've done it like all the time. And I was like, oh, okay. And so we slept in a hammock out in the backyard of his house, in the woods. And that was my first time hammocking.
So what'd you think about it the first night?
It was fine. I mean, I liked it. I was totally like, he plays a lot of practical jokes. I should also front end that story with that. So I was like, I'm just going to go with it because the joke will come out sometime. And then it's like, 2:00 in the morning, I'm laying in a hammock in the middle of the woods. And I'm like, it's not a joke. We are sleeping here. But it was really comfortable. We always share a double hammock. So like a lot of people like to sleep in their own, but we always sleep in a double. So it's like snuggly and warm and like wonderful. And you're just looking at the stars. So like I quickly fell into liking hammock camping.
Yeah, me and Paul have tried that a couple times.
God. My God. It's gonna be one of those nights with you, isn't it?
I can't wait.
So the first hammock that you started out with, Weston, you said it was just one of the El Cheapo type hammocks off of Amazon. How long did you have that one before you decided to make your own?
Oh gosh. Well, probably about a year and a half. I actually fell out of it when I was trying to get into it drunk one time, and then I decided that's when I needed to upgrade. So
don't we all have a story that's similar to that?
Those are always the best stories.
Yep.
And then I'm assuming, you actually just told us that your first hammock that you were in, Maria, was one of the Mr. Mox hammocks.
Yeah, it was Mr. Mox. It was one of the ones we currently sell. It was our current edition Mr. Mox. There are like custom edition Mr. Mox, like the first ones Weston was sewing were all custom hammocks. So they were like custom made to whatever the person ordered wanted. So we have a lot of those as well, which are like amazing hammocks, and I love those. But my very first one was the hammocks that are actually in the market right now.
Okay.
So Weston, what was like your driving inspiration to say, I'm not happy with what I have. I think I could do better.
So initially when I was getting into like starting the business and stuff like that, the most of the drive came from like not having an affordable hammock that was decent. But then obviously when I started making them here in America and like trying to get all of the costs and stuff like that, I wasn't able to make a feasible hammock. But every time people would talk about hammocks, they'd always be like, aren't you afraid to fall out? Like all that type of stuff. So my goal or like mission was to make a safe hammock. And I did that. I made some hammock designs that were super comfortable, super easy to get in, like super secure. But it turns out that the people who are buying hammocks really don't care about that. And the people who have that idea, they're just not going to buy a hammock anyway. So it was kind of like like non-necessary thing to like upgrade into the hammock world, if that makes sense.
Right. If we were to look at maybe your first prototype that you had and what you have on the market today, how would that look different? So talk about the evolution of the Mr. Mock hammock.
So the hammocks we have on the market now are just more of your classic parachute hammocks. So there's not like a ton other than just being high quality, like tree straps, carabiners, everything like that. Like a lot of our niche stuff comes with like the bunk bed hammock or like our mosquito nets and stuff like that. But the first hammocks I put out, there was like the hammock itself was a lot deeper and had where you really felt like you were sitting in it rather than on it, which a lot of that is due to setup and stuff like that. But there was a lot of precautions and stuff where you couldn't set it up where you had that sitting on it feel, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely how different hammocks are made. I would say there's a big difference using it as a chair versus a lounging thing. There are definitely some hammocks that I can think off the top of my head that I would much rather sit in than others. Yeah. If I was using it as a chair.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess my first hammocks were, if you know, like the asymmetrical, they were kind of a morph off of an asymmetrical hammock where it was like easy to get in, but the sleeping side was real secure and like deep and high walled and stuff like that. So that would be the best way to describe my first set of hammocks. And then I had some, like, depending if you were getting a double or, how tall, there was some different stuff too, but.
Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, on your website, it actually talks on there about when you first started with Mr. Mox and everything, that you yourself were sewing each and every hammock that was ordered, correct? Okay.
Yeah, I used to sew every hammock up until like late 2019.
Okay. And you didn't you learned how to sew from your mom, if I remember correctly?
No, so I really wanted to get a sewing machine to make a hammock, but I convinced my mom to buy me the sewing machine because I told her I'd make her dog. She had a little Yorkie. I told her I'd make it jackets and stuff like that. So,
okay, so you conned your mom to get you your first sewing machine. I love it.
Yep, exactly.
That's funny. That is funny.
I would think sewing a hammock would be immensely easier, than sewing a jacket for a Yorkie.
Yeah,
I think that would be. So maybe you just haven't mastered it yet. You're getting there. You haven't completely caught your ball. You just haven't mastered that Yorkie sweater vest yet.
Oh no, I made some sweet jackets for that dog.
Oh, okay, awesome.
That is funny.
You might have to send us one. We have one of our HangCon guys. He could probably fit into the size of a Yorkie.
Yeah, I will. I'll have to.
Who's that, Matt?
Yeah, Matt.
The water boy.
That's our little nugget to just check to see if Matt is listening.
Yeah, we periodically talk trash about the other HangCon the other HangCon crew, just to see if they listen to our podcast or not.
Yeah.
That's a good check.
So now Mr. Mox actually got started back in 2017, correct?
Well, that's when we established the LLC, and
okay.
I had a website and stuff like that. There was about 3 years of making hammocks, and probably about 2 before that of selling them on Craigslist and stuff like that. Okay.
All right.
So where did the name Mr. Mox come from?
It was 2 things. One, we always call him Mox. So that's where, and then it was like a year of not being able to come up with another name. So Mr. Mox stuck.
Okay.
That's how my daughter got her name too. We're going through this. You know what? I don't not like this one. This kind of works.
Yeah. That was kind of how Mr. Mox was. We were like, I liked it in the beginning, but I'm like, I don't know if I love it. But I do like it now.
I think it's very unique, and your logo is also pretty epically goofy, but really, really cool.
Oh, thanks.
The logo is actually like his personal brand. Like he's been drawing that since he was like 7.
Yeah, like back in middle school, it was it's a mixture of the Roadrunner and like Odie and a W, and I kind of like turned it into my personal brand. And then like I used to make skateboards and stuff, and I put the logo on it. And then I turned the body into a hammock, so it still has the W shape and stuff like that. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think I remember you telling me that story at HangCon, because I think I asked you there as well about it. That was pretty neat.
Most people wonder about the logo and what it is
and where it came from. There you go. So, what is each of y'all's roles in the company?
You want to go first?
Okay. So we are like a pretty good team because we're like skilled differently. Weston's obviously like the creator, the sewer. Like I actually can't sew at all, which is awesome for me.
Darn.
Yeah, shoot. I can't get in front of the sewing machine. So he like creates everything, designs everything, like works with our manufacturer, like all that like is him. I do our marketing, our sales. I'm on the phone half the day talking to people, trying to get our hammocks in stores, or working with the people that are already selling our hammocks. So I do a lot of talking essentially for Mr. Mox is my role. I think that sums it up.
So where all are y'all's hammocks sold at other than on your website?
Yeah, so our hammocks are sold in, I think, like 25 regional chains at this point.
Oh, okay.
And we are constantly expanding. We're working with distributors now, so we're expanding our retail presence as fast as we can at this point, actually. We want to work with other small businesses like us so that we can share profits with them, so other small businesses, instead of people like Amazon or Google. So that way, we're all benefiting rather than, quote unquote, the man benefiting. Right. So that's why we've kind of changed our sales strategy just a little bit from being an Amazon type company in our website to just our website and then other small businesses and retail.
So you say regional chains. Where are you guys based out of?
We're here in Michigan. So we have a lot of Michigan retail chains. But I guess I couldn't even say regional because we sell in California. I have some chains in Florida. I have some in North Carolina, Indiana. There's some in Colorado. I have some Idaho's. So I have just like a sporadic amount of stores all over the place right now.
Sounds like you guys are located in some space from sea to shining sea.
Yep.
I love that.
Nice. All right, so y'all currently have, is it just the 3 models of hammocks? You got the single, the double, and then the third wheeler, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And I know I actually y'all gave me one of the third wheelers to try out and everything. And I've had it up several times in the backyard and everything, laying in it, and you know, my wife has been out there and everything. I haven't used it to camp overnight in yet because I still got to get a net for it. Before I do that, we don't camp in a hammock at any point in time down here in Florida without a net.
Yeah, I'm still nursing some of those mosquito and yellow fly bites from our past weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, we got down here, we got not just the mosquitoes. I mean, the mosquitoes are like pterodactyls down here, but we got like huge horse flies, and then these little, they're only about a half inch.
I mean, they're like a small wasp, but like
I don't know what they are, but they're like a yellowish color, and they will. I mean, AJ one landed on his foot and took a chunk out of it. Literally,
like
started
they
bleeding.
don't like a mosquito. They have a needle kind of thing. No, they just like
these things have like
take,
mandibles,
like, a chunk out, and
they're terrible.
It flares up.
Florida's
So, yeah,
terrifying.
We don't camp without a mosquito net down here.
You
And
guys
lots
would be
of permethrin and Picard.
you guys
That
be
stuff
jealous
wasn't
of
even
us because last weekend we just went and we no mosquito nets, no rain flies, no nothing. Just it was like 45, 50 degrees, no bugs. It was perfect.
Yeah, see, that would be awesome. I mean, we might have one day a year that we can do that. And if you miss it, you just got to wait another whole year.
Essentially.
Well, you didn't
You
need
know,
mosquito
and-
nets at HangCon.
No,
And
That is true.
yeah,
it was a little wet.
That was our one weekend a year.
Yes, yeah.
It's
But-
been 80 degrees ever since.
Also, you know, down here, you can watch the news, and they'll tell you it's going to be, you know, nice, clear night. Still put up your tarp, at least, and hang it over you with like a snake skin or something like that. Because if you don't put it up, it will rain.
Oh
Guaranteed.
my god!
It's like washing your car. You wash your car, it's going to rain.
We have schema. We have schema.
So now let's talk about those 3 models a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Give some of the details if you can about each one of them.
Yeah, so starting with a single person hammock, that's we don't really recommend that one that much to like people who are going to be spending the night in it. We mainly got that hammock because we were selling on Amazon and we needed the SEO, not CEO,
SEO.
because we needed that to get clicks and stuff like that. But to make those hammocks more comfortable, we made ours 10 feet long. So the standard parachute hammock is actually 9 foot long for a single. So the extra foot makes it a little more comfortable.
Right.
They're great for kids.
Yeah,
It's
great
a
for kids.
Starter hammock.
Okay.
So then we started just selling the 2-person hammock or the double hammock. That's 6 feet, 4 inches wide, 10 foot long. And we recommend that for, hanging out with multiple friends over like at the park during the day. And then we recommend sleeping in that like solo, or what I always say is if you're still in the honeymoon phase, you can probably sleep in it with someone. But if you're past that, you might want to get your own hammock.
We
All
still
right.
Me and
sleep
Paul are
there.
already in separate bedrooms.
Goodness. So what
And
about
then
the third wheeler?
So that was, created for college kids who are, hanging out in the dorm room with their friends. They all want to go down to the park or whatever and just fit as many people as you can into a hammock and just hang out during the day. That was what that was made for. So it's a 12.5-foot long double person hammock with a standard size single hammock strung inside of the double. So you get the perfect separation.
And it's really great, honestly. Like the more we use it, the more I'm like, you know what, this hammock is made for like so many different purposes. We took it with us to Hawaii, and the top bunk acts really great as a sunshade because I can just like stick my leg out and get the sun that I want, and then pull it back in when I don't want that much sun. Or I put my stuff up in the top. It holds, snacks. It holds my books. It holds things I don't want to be on the ground. Our neighbor kids have one as well, and they like to like run and jump into it, or like climb up and down the 2 levels like a jungle gym, or take the bottom hammock and like make a fort with the top hammock. So it's like a wildly versatile, fun hammock for like all sorts of things. Like we go to rally races and we take that with us because we can put, it's marketed as a 3-person hammock, but I will say we have definitely put more than 3 people in it.
I've seen a couple of pictures where it was Weston and 2 kids on top, and then you and a child and another adult in the bottom.
Yeah, so, and it wasn't even full.
I've seen it stacked pretty good.
That sounds like a lot of people. A lot of feet. A lot of hands in awkward positions and places. And
AJ's just feeling left out. Is all that
There's
is.
plenty of room for you. You can be on the top.
So, here's one of the questions that I like to ask our vendors. So, what is your favorite piece of gear that you have that is from another vendor?
Oh, that's hard.
And I'm trying to think right off the top. I have a old Canadian made backpack called the Lugger, and I tried looking at. I got it at a yard sale for $40, and I tried looking it up, and the brand does not exist anymore. But I love that backpack, so that would be like. But I'm trying to think of like a brand that I can promote now.
Yeah, so we actually won this at HangCon this year by a total fluke. Like we did not stack the raffle. I'm gonna say this because it seems like we stacked the raffle with Ripstop, but we did not. Weston won it. It was legit. We got a light AF fanny pack, and it's got gummy worms on it, and it's like I'm obsessed with it for some weird reason. Like I just love that thing and take it everywhere with me, and it's actually my marketing fanny pack, if that makes sense. I always have my business cards in there and my Kadama and all my little things that I give to stores that I walk into. And I have it with me all the time. And I have a bunch of fanny packs because I love fanny packs. But that is my favorite one. And we got it at HangCon from Ripstop by the Roll. And it's a light AF bag. And I love it. Obsessed with it.
That's awesome.
But it wasn't, we didn't
raffle. You actually just mentioned something else that y'all have that you sell on your website, and I always mess up the name. The
Kadama.
Am I saying it right? Kadama.
Ken and then Dama.
Kendama.
So that's
okay.
Japanese for Ken is for sword, and it's actually Tama, which means ball.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know that was a pretty good hit at HangCon because y'all had y'all's little the challenge going on for anybody that can land it. And so what was it? If they landed the ball, they got a shot.
Yeah, we said if you got it within 3 tries, you got a shot of tequila, but we ended up giving to anybody over 21.
I think we're bad at math and counting and things like that, so it makes it really difficult to count to 3.
I'm sure your mathematical ability just got better.
It was fun.
Every time I look over at y'all's booth area, there was usually a good bit of people over that way.
Yeah, and I mean, we do this because we want to spread joy and happiness, and people to be out in nature, loving what they're doing, So having the Kadamas at HangCon is just fun for us to connect with other people, and that's why we're here. We're here to have fun, and so
I do have to say AJ's son got one of them, and he drove us nuts with that damn thing. He drove us nuts with
darn
it.
Gifted brains.
because he would sit there.
When I saw you guys had it at your stand, and then I saw my son go, I was like, well, this is gonna happen. I'm calling this. But I guarantee it will keep him occupied for the entire weekend.
And it did.
It did.
It did.
It definitely did. He's got to be really good at it by now.
We'd give him so much crap because I guess y'all showed him, how to get it on the end and then flip it and, you get it on the bottom and then both sides and all that. And he'd be sitting there and he would try and try and try. And finally he would get it, hit all four of them, back to back to back to back. And he'd be like, I got it. I was like, didn't see it. Can't prove it. He would get so mad. And then he would, of course, try it again. And he would be so adamant on getting it that second time in a row that he would end up missing one of them. I was like, you didn't even get it the first time. I just gave him so much crap. He stayed mad with me the whole weekend, I think, because of that.
Oh, it was really...
I'm not condoning underage drinking. However, in some cases, I wish you'd just given him the tequila.
Well, it was really funny at HankCon. So lots of people came and saw us the whole weekend. I don't even know how many. And one guy was talking to me. He's like, I really want to get this. I've never tried this. And I'm like, cool, you got this. You can do it. And gets it on the first time. And I'm like, good job. You're so talented. And then somebody walks over and he was like, you were here twice yesterday. I did not recognize him. I was like, oh, that's God.
Yeah, so me and Paul have gone to a couple different hangs now, and people will recognize us. Oh, you're the Hang Kong guys. You're the podcast guys. It's like, yeah, sure. I don't. Oh, do you remember? I feel like if I was like a Santa Claus, and little Jimmy comes up. Do you remember what I asked for last year? No, I have no idea who you are.
I actually just had that happen a couple of weeks ago. My sister and I went to Tampa to an event thing down there at one of the outfitters, and a lady come up to me, and I did not recognize her face or anything. And she looks at me. We was talking for a few, and she looks at me. She goes, "You don't remember who I am, do I?" I was like, "No, I'm sorry." And then she told me who she was at HangCon, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I remember now." But yeah, it's funny.
That's so awesome.
So speaking of the hammock community, who are some of your favorite people within the hammock community?
Oh, I have a favorite.
Better be
you
us.
two, obviously.
Okay.
That's it. But oh my gosh, her name was like Grandma or Mom. It was one of the two. That's all I called her. Love her. She came over. We hung out. She was taking me to the whiskey drinking. She gave me a rubber duck. I actually have it somewhere around in here.
Oh,
was this at HangCon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love her. Mima. No, her name was Mima. It was Mima. She gave me a rubber duck because she's a Jeep lady and she knows I'm also a Jeep lady. So she gave me a rubber duck. She sat and talked with me for hours at our booth. I love her. Best friend. Best bud.
Do you know her real name? By any chance?
No, I don't.
Ain't that
talk
funny?
to so many people and I'm I have no idea what her real name is. I can see her face. I cannot remember her real name. I know everything we talked about.
It's funny how you can remember a trail name before you remember somebody's real name.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, from whenever I hiked the AT, I remember most everybody's, trail names. But it's okay, what is their real name? I cannot for the life of me remember their real name,
Yeah.
I tell some of my students that I get for the beginning of the year, and I tell them, if I've never had you as a student and I know your name, it's probably not necessarily a good thing. So I completely agree. I know a lot of people, with their trail names, and a few people that I do know, that I don't know personally, that I know their real name, it's not necessarily for a good reason. It's mainly when I'm looking at HangCon registrations and I want to make sure that these people aren't registering.
You guys are messing with my brain now because I'm oh my God, I don't actually know anybody's real name. Because there's two other people who were a couple and he went to Michigan State and that's why we connected because went to Michigan State. And he like talked to me forever. He got his wife her first hammock, which was one of ours. And then they went and bought me a special bottle of tequila because they know I really like tequilas. And they got me a Bloody Mary mix. And they were super nice because they like put it in a little present box and gave it to me. And I don't know their names. I'm like, oh my God, I can see their faces. They like send me pictures all the time and we text. But I have them as like trail names and I don't know the real names.
Yeah, so we've talked about numerous times with lots of different guests that have, gone to hangs, and not necessarily just HangCon, but it's just fun how the hammock community is really like a big family reunion with family that you never knew you had.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Even if you don't know their real names.
Well, we tell everybody about HangCon and how much fun we had, and we want to take more people with us from Michigan next year down to Florida.
Y'all are coming back, right?
Oh yeah, we're definitely coming back. We've actually talked about trying to have like not to like steal HangCon's thunder, but like some type of event up here in Michigan,
Absolutely.
like a hang, because we just have so much like wilderness and places to have it, and I don't think there's anything like that up here.
There was the cold butt hang, which I think is
the
like
frozen
November.
butt.
So.
Yeah.
I think that's about the
I'm more
only
of a
one.
We just talked to a guest a couple weeks ago, Carla with a K. She was telling us about a hang that she was looking at doing up that way as well. So,
what was
check
that?
that
It's
episode
one
out.
that they
I
were talking about
forget.
getting started.
Yeah.
That's gonna be this episode coming out this weekend on the 12th.
Okay.
Or actually, I should say, I say this weekend on the 12th, but everybody listening to this, it was be 2 weeks ago. I get confused whenever I do this stuff.
So you guys said that you had just gone to Hawaii and did hammock camping. So tell us how it is like hanging in the Hawaii.
Perfect.
Yeah, feels like that was forever ago, but at this point,
forever ago. Hawaii is literally perfect. It is like the most beautiful views I've ever seen. So we were like on the beach, and then we're like on a mountain on a volcano, and then we're like in the jungle, and then we're like in this rapids, and I don't even know. It was like literally perfect.
So would you guys say overall that's your favorite place that you've ever hung?
No, that is not mine.
Actually coming up from a HangCon, what was that? Jackal Island
was what I was going to say too.
Yeah. That wasn't like an overnight spot to hammock, but it's like all this old driftwood beach, and it was super cool to just throw a hammock up and hang.
Yeah, coastal Georgia.
That's in where's Jekyll Island? I know I've heard of it.
It's like right across the border.
Yeah.
Okay. Into Georgia?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
like right on the coast. It's like breathtakingly beautiful. Like these giant, enormous trees are just kind of like fallen over, and they're like huge driftwood stumps and trees and pieces like everywhere. And so we actually have some like really cool like content photos and videos that we took of just like hanging in them and around them.
Okay.
And it was just like so pretty because then the like tides are pretty dramatic there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're hanging, like the tide's coming under you, or you're watching the waves break under you while you're hanging in this fallen tree. So it's just so pretty.
Okay.
Awesome. So what would be like some of the places that you would like to hang as kind of like a bucket list that maybe you haven't gone to before?
Oh.
Not necessarily to hang, but I've always wanted to go to New Zealand, but I'm sure they have some good hammock spots out there.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, like Vietnam, I think would probably be really pretty as well. Like some scapes. I don't even know where I want to hang. And always like the hidden locations are like Jekyll Island's not that hidden, I guess, but we always find these like random hidden locations that I feel like are just like enormously beautiful, and then we're like, this is perfect. Like Maine, we found this like random park beach thing, and it was so beautiful because they have the coast is like really rocky.
Right.
So like it just breaks into like rocks, and there's just trees like jutting over the edge. So we climbed out on the tree and hung straight down over the water, and it was like beautiful, but it was random. So I don't even know. I feel like our random adventures are like my favorite, so I can't even plan ahead.
I guess.
So when you guys come down to HangCon next year, if you're looking for random places and you like Hawaii, forget the Florida beaches and things like that. Not too far from us, and there's a few places that you can choose from. We have a lot of natural springs in Florida, and no matter what temperature the area is outside, the water will always be 72 degrees year-round, 360 days a year. That's why we have the largest concentration of manatee that come into those springs, and the water is crystal clear. It looks like a sheet of blue water, and during that time, everything in Florida is still very green because we don't celebrate seasons. And yeah, it's great places to hammock. So
you got all the
definitely
manatee
check
and
some of
stuff
those
too. Which spring is it that all the manatee come up into, AJ?
So the major one is Three Sisters Springs in Crystal River, which is actually where I live. You can actually, you can swim in, paddle in, you can swim with the manatees. However, you go into Three Sisters, it's kind of expensive for what it is. But any of the springs that even are connected to St. John's River, they have lots of manatees that come up through there. So if you're looking at Juniper Springs or Alexander Springs, there's manatee over there. But if you definitely, hands down, want to see a manatee, any of the springs that they do the kayak trip that we do at HangCon down the Chassahowitzka River, that connects right into the Gulf as well. And they always see manatees on that as well.
Yeah, we saw a ton of manatees in Hammocks Springs last year. Like a ton. Or Crystal River.
I was going to say, I swear we went to Crystal River.
Yeah, it was Crystal River. Well, we were swimming and it was like, oh my God, I just kicked a manatee. Oh crap. Like, just be frozen and like, don't touch them. They'll move eventually. And it's like, they're not moving. There's just manatees.
Funny story. I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before or not, but when I first moved down to Florida, I'm originally not a Florida person. And I was working with a group of middle schoolers, and we were staying at this house, which is not too far from Homosassa. It's called Weeki Wachee. It's home of the mermaids, if anybody's curious. Weeki Wachee Springs. And we're in kind of like a little inlet, and the kids are getting out. We're getting ready to go to dinner. The water is not clear. It's pretty murky. And I felt something extremely large bump up against my leg. Well, me, not being from Florida, my first thought was not peaceful, loving manatee. No, my first thought was Lake Placid gator, and I was about to die. So I lose all verbal filter as I'm like cussing to the wind and just try to get to this dock. And here they are on the dock, my wife included, just laughing their butts off. And I'm just saying, I'm going to die.
You probably lost all bodily fluids too.
Possibly.
And functions.
There's no, since I was in the water, there's no record of that. But it was a mama manatee and her cub that had swam by and had bumped my leg. So that's my story of being attacked by a manatee. Yeah.
You're lucky to be here today.
I know.
Hey, they're scary in the water. I got scared when one like was face to face with me. He saw me and I was like, ah! And then I was like, wait, it's a manatee. And I was like, it's okay. But when they're coming.
On the flip side, I kind of want to know what one tastes like. I'm not gonna lie.
That is just wrong.
I bet it would be like sea Kobe beef. Because all they do is like float around like little turds and like eat. That's all they do.
Well, supposedly their defense is the fact that they don't taste good. They're just a bunch of bones, so they probably don't taste good.
AJ just got red flagged by the state of Florida.
Of all the things I could probably get red flagged in Florida with, assault on a manatee would probably be the least of those.
That is like something that like, so we're from Michigan, we're not Florida people. I think it's like very funny about in Florida, like super serious, like don't be mean to manatees. Like one hand only on a manatee, like that's the rules. And like do not touch an alligator. If you touch an alligator, like you're going to jail. And it's like, what?
It's do not molest.
Yeah, it did say
Yes,
molest.
do not molest the alligator.
And it was like,
Look.
what?
Look,
you got Florida men around.
years ago, my sister and brother-in-law had gone on vacation, and so my mom was going over to their house to take care of the dogs. And she'd go over in the morning, let the dogs out into the backyard that was fenced in and everything, and feed them and all that. And then later that afternoon, she'd go back over to let them back into the garage area, to sleep and all. Well, when she went back over,
where this story is going.
when she went back, shut up. When she went back over one afternoon to let the dogs back in, she opened up the door to go into the backyard, and she saw both of the dogs just sitting there barking and barking and barking, and then they would jump back. Well, my mom was deathly afraid of snakes, so that's the first thing that popped into her head was, well, great, there's a big snake that these dogs are trying to get to, and yada yada yada. So she called me and told me that there was of course she told me there was a big snake in the backyard trying to get the dogs and everything. So I take off over that way, and I get over there and I jump out and I take off to the backyard. Well, it wasn't a snake at all. It was about a 3.5 foot gator that had climbed over the fence and was in the dog's pen eating the dog's food. So the dogs are sitting here barking. So I got the dogs away from it and had my mom put them into the garage. Well, I then get an old clothesline type piece of wire, and I put it over this gator, and I catch this gator and I put it into one of the big Rubbermaid totes. And I tell my mom to call the animal control and have them come and get this thing so they can take it off. Well, after about 30 minutes of calling different places because nobody wanted to do their job and come out there, the sheriff's office, oh, it's not our jurisdiction, Fruitland Park, it's not ours, and everything. Well, the dispatch person finally told my mom, she's like, well, she goes, I'll tell you what. She goes, I'm not going to send anybody over there. She goes, just tell your son to put a lid over the container, take it down to the closest lake and just drop it off. She goes, because if I send an officer out there, they will arrest your son and he will have 2 federal charges placed on him. The first one would be for when I took the little lasso and put around the gator. That was harassing the gator. That would have been the first one. The second one would have been when I put this gator into the tote, because now I'm capturing a gator. So yeah, they're so funny about their rules and everything down here. I mean, I thought that was a little ridiculous. I'm sitting here trying to get rid of a gator that's trying to attack my sister's dogs. Nobody, from animal control wants to come over and take care of it. But
that story ended so much better than I thought it was going to.
I'm sure it did.
I thought some puppies were going to be gone.
I was like, oh no. We have just lost 2/3 of our viewers.
See, I could not live with like alligators and like things outside. Like my cat brought in a baby bunny this week and I was devastated. Like, what if an alligator ate my cat? Like,
well, you would just think the cat ran away.
Third one this week.
We were at Hidden Pond a couple of years ago, and we had set up our camp and stuff like that. And there are a few of the, they're not massive, but there are a few ponds out there with probably just enough fish to keep something alive. But we had this probably good 5 to 7 foot gator walk right through our camp. Had no cares in the world that we were there. And it wasn't a big gator, but it was not a small gator. It would have put a hurting on you. But it just kind of moped through. I have a video of it and everything. So, but honestly, I'm more scared of, I don't do snakes either. And we have some pretty wicked, vicious snakes here in Florida too. But
yeah, I'm more worried about the snakes than I am the gators, the cottonmouths, and now we got to worry about the pythons and everything.
We actually, like, one of the funner things we did, not funner, I shouldn't say it like that. We discovered green iguanas in Florida. What a sport. Like, we found one tree with 30 of them in there. Weston climbed up to the top of the tree they start diving into the water, and it's like, this is the most fun I've ever had in my life trying to catch these things.
Wait, you ought to
So
come
if
down
you
here.
go down to Miami and you catch like a really cold spell, with reptiles being, cold blooded, they will actually freeze and fall off the trees.
Fall out of the trees.
So we were in Miami right before HangCon, and it got cold at HangCon, and I was like, oh my God, I just want to know what the iguanas are doing.
They're falling out of trees and
falling
hitting
out
people.
of trees.
But I want to see it so bad. Like, that sounds horrible, but I just really want to see it.
We got a lot of weird, vicious stuff here that we got to watch out for now. Thanks to
We don't have.
people bringing exotics and everything in and then not being able to take care of them and just letting them loose.
Yeah. We have zebra mussels. They're like little mini clams. That's like the worst thing we got going on up here in Michigan.
We have
Rattlesnakes.
monkeys. We have monkeys in Ocala.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did know about that.
Yep.
Monkeys will mess you up.
I don't want to go there. Mm-mm.
All those monkeys were left behind from years ago. They used to film the old Tarzan TV shows out there at Silver Springs,
Insane.
and that's where the monkeys came from, and they've just been there ever since.
We should
And that's
actually
not
just go
actually
hang
even that's even not the only monkey island that we have over here. Like there's one in Homosassa as well.
See, I
Now,
didn't know
granted,
about that one.
it's a monkey island and they don't swim, so they're kind of like confined to the island. But yeah,
Florida is so wild. Like, so we've been going down to Florida like in the wintertime because sunshine and everything is good for you. And we
you
enjoy
and every
it.
other person in the country.
Yeah. But every time we go, we just learn something and we're like, wow, Florida. It's just such a different place.
If it makes you
And
feel any
then-
better, we live here and we do the same thing.
And
Wow.
not only do we have
Florida.
all the weird animals and stuff, we have the villagers. Now, that's another species right there of their own. Right there. We won't even get into that on this episode.
It was the
That-
funnest thing, and I actually told this story in my classroom the other day. When I first moved down here, the first winter, everybody was complaining about the snowbirds. Oh, the snowbirds are coming. Oh, da da da. Well, growing up, like snowbird was an actual bird. It was like this short little teaspoon. I was like, what? They're cute little birds. Da, da, da. And then I realized, oh no, snowbirds. Oh,
It's the people from
get off the
Michigan.
darn road.
That'd be us.
Oh, me.
That's funny.
All right, let's turn this train back around. All right.
We can talk about anything.
So when you guys are camping and things like that, so what are some favorite things that you like to take out and eat, or what's your favorite drink when you're just a swinging in the woods?
Well, favorite drink is blackberry brandy.
Oh, I thought you were going to jump on like biscuits and gravy.
Oh,
That is like the
yeah.
first thing he always says.
Mountain House biscuits and gravy, or any brand freeze-dried biscuits and gravy will do.
You ought to you ought to get you some of the Peak Refuel biscuits and gravy if you haven't tried them yet.
No, I haven't.
Get you some of the Peak Refuel biscuits and gravy. Okay. Now, when you open it up, you're going to see like it's either 2 or 3 whole biscuits in there. Break those biscuits up before you try and rehydrate them, or it will not work. So just break those up and try them.
All right,
I can promise you,
so
probably
excited.
will. I promise you will probably not eat another brand.
I don't know. He's pretty on his biscuits and gravy. We also have like weird rituals with like every time we go on a trip, we like always buy a box of Cheez-Its. He always shaves a mustache at the start of our trip. We always have bucked up energy drinks. I don't know, is
What
that all we
energy
do?
drinks?
The bucked up, that's like the deer antler one.
I hadn't even heard of
because
those. I don't think.
We got like a lifetime supply of them at like one of the shows. We got not a real lifetime, but like for 2 people who don't really drink energy drinks, it was a
Right.
lifetime supply.
That sounds like a Florida brand.
I
It
know,
does
right?
feel like a Florida brand too, actually.
The original like energy drinks, I don't know if they still are, but it was like the velvet
yeah.
from deer antlers. I guess that has something in it, and that's what they were
Yeah,
making.
I
Like,
remember
the
that.
creatine and stuff like that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
We're hearing
But
something
we
about
have
that
like
a while back.
tons of them. They support us. We support them. Buy Bucked Up energy drinks. Woohoo!
Oh, my other trail thing is I get the Idahoan potatoes, like any flavor, and then you take the ramen, and when you make your ramen, you take your ramen water and make the potatoes with that. That's good.
That would be pretty
That's
good.
my go-to.
Yeah, I love ramen of any sort.
So, like, do you have any special ways that you do ramen to kind of like spice it up, or what's your favorite some ramen toppings?
Oh, I don't even know. What do I do? I don't do anything like on like out and about at home. I always eat it with like an egg.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
And I don't think I do anything like spicy, like throw tomatoes in it.
Just
That's not spicy.
the Idahoan potatoes, but that's like the most white
It's a
boy
very
thing.
Caucasian thing. I like spicy. I'll throw some tomatoes in there.
I know. I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe some black pepper.
I like vegetables.
Are you one of those people that that eat it raw? That like to eat like
No.
raw ramen?
No.
Look,
I used to eat it raw as a kid. Like,
hey,
with a
hey,
big cracker.
on the trail, we used to take, if you look at a brick of ramen, it's just kind of folded over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you take and you break it in half, you basically have bread. And you put some peanut butter and jelly, smear some peanut butter and jelly in between that, and then eat it.
Oh,
It is
okay.
really good. You
I'll
get
try that when I'm
crunch.
really hungry on the trail.
You get that crunch. It tastes almost like the those little hard Asian noodles that you put in soup and stuff.
Mhm.
So it
I think
has
it's called
that.
ramen.
No, it's not. So anyhow, you have the crunch and the kind of salty flavor of that, but with the jelly and everything, it's really good. I know it's weird, but it's good. Ramen sandwiches. PB&J ramen sandwich.
Well,
That's like taking the two poor college kid meals and making one out of it. I like it.
if you put like a grilled cheese in there, that would be all of them.
There you go. Might have to try that one next. Throw some cheese. Yeah. Now I'm going to have to try that. Break apart some ramen and throw some cheese in between it.
You know,
Heat
you know
it
what I
up.
think it would be good on ramen, Paul?
What's
a
that?
nice crispy slab of scrapple.
Oh,
Do y'all like Scrapple? Do
Yeah.
y'all know what Scrapple is?
I had it down at HangCon.
Yeah.
Did you? And you
Let's
liked it?
go.
Well, I'm surprisingly my stomach handled it. I have a weak stomach for like greasy stuff, so I thought for sure I was not going to be having a good night. But
Okay. Well, now HangCon was back in January. If I told you what Scrapple was, you would probably now lose that Scrapple that's in your
Paul
gut.
is a hater. Paul
I
is
Scrapple
learned
is
what it was
nasty.
before I ate it.
Did you? And you still tried it?
Mhm.
Is this like
What is
learning
wrong
what
with
a hot
you?
dog is?
Oh, I know what. Yeah,
Wild.
I know what a hot dog is, and Scrapple's even worse.
Oh,
no.
God.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
So we've talked about some of your great adventures in a hammock and things like that. But what is your scariest night that you've ever stayed in a hammock?
Ooh, scariest night. Well, this doesn't really count as a scary night, but this was kind of like one of the nights that I decided needed to upgrade my hammock. Was I was out in Hammock City, which is our backyard again, and I was having this dream that I was getting chased by like a dinosaur, and I was just running through the woods, and I hucked myself off a cliff, and in my dream, I'm like sliding down a hill, like as if I was on a sled, and I wake up, and I had jumped out of my hammock into my friend who was below me, and I was holding onto his hammock like I was sledding down the hill, and he was still sleeping.
Oh,
The mental image that I have put together from that story is just amazing.
It was
Oh
it
my
was
God.
crazy because the jumping out of the hammock like had my stomach drop and everything, so the dream felt so real.
Your friend must be
That
something
would've
like
been-
Britt. Like our friend Britt.
that would have been so funny to see.
Britt has this astounding ability to sleep through a nuclear crisis. And so I can imagine like Matt falling out of his hammock and riding Britt like a buffalo. Like,
Yep.
Oh my
I
god.
really hope the rest of our HangCon crew listens to this episode thoroughly.
That is funny.
Oh.
Oh my god. I'm tearing up here.
I guess my other like scary night would be I was out alone and like where we sleep there's like 2 swamps and I just had this, I almost called them a herd, a pack of coyotes came through and they were tearing up through the swamp and I had to climb a tree because I thought for sure that they were going to get forced basically right underneath my hammock. So that'd be like the other scary night in a hammock.
Yeah, I've camped with some coyotes in a very close proximity a couple times, and so yeah, I can understand that sense of unease. What type of camping do you guys do normally when you're able to get out and adventure? Is it more like one night jaunts? Do you do hiking trips? Is it more car camping? What's your preferred mean of hanging?
Well, I don't know. Weston camps in our backyard a fair bit. But we travel the country in our motorhome, Gina.
Okay.
And we're very lucky to do that. So a fair bit of our time is actually in Gina.
Well, she tore her ACL basically a year ago. She had surgery, so that took out all the backpacking and stuff like that. So normally I try to do 1 to 2 backpacking trips a year, like even just local, like Manistee National Forest and stuff like that. So 2-night backpacking trips is like my favorite thing to do.
Okay.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What season do y'all like the best?
I hate the cold.
The cold. Hate.
So like spring, fall is the best, and
I think summer's the best.
I'm always so busy in the summer though. So,
well, okay. Now y'all say summer. What is y'all's summers like?
Our winter.
Yep.
Our winter.
I was gonna say humid and hot, but I can't say that to somebody who lives in Florida.
I think we'll like July and August. It's like 80 degrees at night sometimes, but always high 70s and pretty humid. But
it's like 90 in the day, and we hit 100 a couple days.
Yeah. July, August here is like step outside, melt your face off. You know, like 100, 112 on the thermometer, 120 real feel. You know, type cooking in a convection oven.
I'm still waiting for evolution to kind of kick in and give me gills to breathe.
Yes.
That's awful.
It's like, oh, you get used to it after a while. No, that's a lie.
Don't.
Yeah, I used to sleep in a hammock just for the fact that it was so much cooler in the summertime because we didn't have AC growing up and stuff. So the sleeping in a hammock definitely feels like 5 to 10 degrees cooler in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
That is
for me, unless we are in, we have a pop-up that we take on a lot of our adventures. And like when we were in Texas, I was in there because it was hot and like a consistent 40-mile-an-hour wind. But other than that, hammocks are really the only way that I can camp during the summer and be somewhat not miserable.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you ready for some of my weird, odd, and Paul's favorite question of all?
Please.
All right. So I got a couple here. So if you guys had a perfect concert lineup, who would be your main act and who would be your 2 opening acts?
He's not a music person, so I feel like this is I'm like Lizzo is coming to mind as my main act because I just like really love Lizzo. Whoever sings that If I Were a Fish song, she could be my opener. The TikTok song, I'm super into it. That was the song I was singing to test out our microphone, which I think sounds great. And what's the other one? What's another one that we like?
The last band I got into was like Imagine Dragons. Like
I like them too. Yeah, might be good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what is your favorite holiday film? And if it's not Christmas Vacation, who hurt you?
Mine's a weird one. I have a very weird answer. I think Star Wars is my favorite like holiday film because it's like a tradition to watch Star Wars on Thanksgiving at my house.
That's like saying
Okay.
football is your favorite holiday
It
movie.
is. Like, that's a tradition. Like, I think Thanksgiving, and I'm like, I'm going to watch Star Wars. Like, that's what I think.
Interesting. Are you going like on a Star Wars marathon, like watching all?
No, you just watch the
time
original
film?
3.
Oh, okay, the original trilogy. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mine's
All right.
Olive the Other Reindeer. I don't
Oh,
know if you've
it's-
ever seen that movie.
I have
What is it?
not.
Olive the Other Reindeer.
Like,
It's-
Olive the
Mhm.
food.
It's a real banger.
Yeah, it's yeah. Highly recommended.
Interesting. and my final of my weird hanging questions is if you could have a superpower, what superpower would you have and why?
Ooh, I like.
We talk about this a lot. We should have a better answer.
I always feel like flying is too cliche, but that would be so fun.
I feel like manipulating time so that way, like, I'm technically getting more done, but I could like stop time and like do 10,000 things, take a nap, and then like restart time.
Or you could just fly.
Or I could fly. Whatever.
See, I like the idea of flying, but me and heights really don't get along. So I was like, ooh, I can fly 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah, I love rock climbing, but I get up there and I'm just like, I hate heights. Why do I do this? So that's pretty similar, like
Yeah.
correlation for me.
So you
Gotcha.
hate heights, but you rock climb.
Yeah,
Regularly.
it's
It doesn't sound like a pro-life choice.
no, it is because I'm not coming off that cliff.
We're more like bouldering people, to be fair. Like, so it's not like as scary. We're like climbing in a gym and then we fall onto like a pad.
Okay.
We're not like putting our hands in holes with spiders and snakes. Like, you have gone more outside, but
When we were climbing in El Dorado last week, it was
okay, he's made poor life decisions when I'm not around.
So that was something new to me when we were out in Colorado. I want to say this past summer. So we were in Rocky Mountain National Park, and we were on this trail. Like, we were a good 4 miles into this trail. I see these people come up behind us, and it looks like they have like a gym mat, like just strapped to their back. I'm like, what idiot hikes with this? Like, why? What is that for, like your lunch or something? And then, eventually my wife's like, oh, they're rock climbing. That's like a pad for rock climbing. She didn't really know either, but she gave me a lot more. I just thought they were taking like a couch with them on this hike. I didn't know why, but
no, that's a bouldering pad. So like you climb like 10, 15 feet up and then you descend down, but it's there. So if you do fall, you fall on that.
It's not as
I
terrible.
would fall. The falling is not the problem. It's that sudden stop at the bottom.
Yeah, it's the landing.
The landing.
Okay,
That's
so so what is one thing that you are deeply grateful for right now?
Oh, right now.
Oh, right now. I mean, I'm really happy that we get to live this like crazy dream life. Like, albeit like sometimes we're crazy busy. Like, we get to live this life where like we work together in our business. We do this full time. We get to travel the country. Like, we have like wonderful family. We have wonderful friends. We get to play sports. We get to do all these things. We get to have a product that we love, meet people that are amazing. We're just like really lucky humans because how many people get to like live their dream life. And we get to do that, and I get to do it with my partner. So it's pretty cool. Super grateful of that.
Yeah, just super grateful of, Maria, my family, my friends, people who come over and help. My dad who, has a nice 3-car garage, but it's all filled with hammocks. So,
That's living my dream.
Come on over.
Yeah, we might make you tag hammocks, but we won't tell you that before.
Yeah, no. You'll get to touch so many hammocks.
So do you guys get asked, like, oh, I could never work with my partner. I can never work with my husband or my wife. Like, don't you guys get tired of each other? Do you guys get asked that a lot?
No,
No, actually not.
Oh, okay.
they just know she gets tired of me, so they don't have to ask.
He is like the chillest human on the planet. Like the most like easygoing. whereas I'm like, the deadlines are happening, the world is ending. And he like chills me down because I'm just like, we own a hammock company, calm down, this is about relaxation.
Right.
I'm about as chill as a guy you would expect to own a hammock company, so that's my chill level when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah, we're pretty good. Usually we don't have a lot of like issues, and when we do, it's like, okay, it's time to chill, let's go hang out for a minute.
There you go.
That's called product research and development, right?
It really works. If you're having problems working with your spouse, get a hammock.
There you go. So what's your favorite thing that you have experienced with the hammock community?
Oh, I don't even know. I just think like everybody, and I think this about like lots of communities too, like everybody's just like so friendly, and it's not just like surface level, like, hey, the weather is cool and like, you know, Florida's hot, whatever. These are like high value, like genuine connections that I felt with a lot of the people that I meet at these hangs or who are other hangers. Like we meet and we talk about like real things and like have real like deep connections that I remember and like hold value to. So I think that's like meaningful to me and like says a lot about the community.
Yeah, just like super down to earth people. Like, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we answered the question.
I don't know if we did either.
I think so.
It works for me. Oh, let's see. What purchase have you made that's had the greatest impact on your maybe outdoor life?
Well, I don't buy anything. I'm the cheapest person out here, so
Oh my God.
that sewing machine that I make everything with, that would be my best purchase.
All right. I can relate to. I am not a cheap person,
But his mom bought the sewing machine.
Yeah. We were actually just at a thrift store today, and they had 50% off like the fabric section, and I saw some cool fabric. I'm like, that would make a sweet sweatshirt. So I bought for like $2 enough fabric.
No, that wasn't the whole story. He was like, is it like too much? It's $2 and it's 50% off. Is that too much? I don't know if that's too much. Will I like really do it? I'm like, it's $1.
That is
It's
funny.
a lot. Like also yin and yang, frugal. Yeah. Oh, I don't even know what I purchased that's like helped us in our outdoor. Probably our RV. Our RV is my like queen of outdoor living. We go everywhere in her. We also show horses. Like that's how we met. So we like camp when we go to horse shows, and like the RV is like that. And it's like our Mr. Mox mobile too. So there's like hammocks always in it, and we take it when we go on the road to talk to people like across the country.
Yeah. We bought a school bus. I don't know if I told you about that at HangCon. So hopefully that'll be fully renovated down at HangCon this next year.
Is it a full-size school bus or one of the shorter ones? Or
Oh, we don't do anything half, but it's
probably a little bit bigger than the bus that you rode into at school.
About 3 times the size.
About 3 times the size.
Well, a funny story with the school bus. It was actually my childhood school bus that we bought.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
My high school was selling a bus, and we like talked about like wanting to like do a remodel because like no RV is like perfect, but we DIY. So we went and talked to one of my dad's friends, who is the like mechanic for the high school, because I went to like the world's smallest high school, and he was like, yeah, the bus is for sale. And I was like, oh my God, that's bus number 9. That's the one I rode. And we started taking the seats out, and my name was on the bottom of one of the seats because I was a little rebel child who wanted to claim my seat but didn't want to get in trouble. So I climbed under the seat and wrote my name when I was like 9.
So did you remember it? You remember writing it, or you just
I remember my cousin being a bad kid, so we found my cousin's name first, and I was like, I wasn't a bad kid, and then we turned over my seat, and I was like, okay, I was.
Yeah, she kept talking. She's like, man, I really wish I was a bad kid so I could have my name on the bottom of the seat, and then I ripped one out, and her name was on it. I'm like, oh, you were a bad kid.
That is funny. Did y'all save the seat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saved all of the seats that have like signatures and stuff on them.
Right.
So to make like shelves that are.
Well, that's neat.
Like, yeah.
Oh, that's super cool.
Okay.
So it's like hidden, but still has like the bus features and stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. So, what your RV? It has a name.
Gina.
So, all right. So we got to hear how Gina got her name.
Well, I like don't even. So I bought the RV a couple of years ago. I don't even know, more than a couple of years ago now. I think that all vehicles should have names. I think it's just like something you should do. If you don't, I'm probably judge you. But so I like had bought this RV. I was like super proud of it because I'd had like a full-size camper and then a full-size horse trailer, and I was making like 2 trips to every horse show, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So it was like this huge purchase for me to get this RV, and I loved it. And I had some recent trouble with my horse trailer, and it was like breaking down. It was being a big pain in the butt. So I said, I'm going to name the RV Gina. So if it's ever like giving me trouble, I can scream like, Jesus, Gina. And it just like feels like really satisfying to like scream Gina. And so far we've only had like one like major Gina issue. And it was pretty satisfying to scream Jesus, Gina, or like Gina.
So
so my truck's name is Lucy, and we let our kids name the pop-up. Our pop-up's name is Bubbles. Bubbles.
Oh, you will never let that one down now that I know
Okay.
that.
That's not me. It's also like my family, and I say specifically my family because I am not included in this characterization. They're uber Disney fans. They've got like season passes, so the interior, and we bought it like this, so it was just like a happy surprise, is all decorated in like Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and all of those things. So
I hate the rat. So what, I hate
the rat farts out more in a single fart than we make in our entire lives.
Yeah, I know. So what are y'all naming the bus? Have you already got a name for it?
Penelope.
Penelope.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
she's like a big pencil.
Okay.
Sure. I just
Okay.
think, like, I don't know. Don't you ever like just look at something and you're like, that's its name, like that just like fits its aura and its energy. I don't know. Yeah, we just looked at her.
That
and
might
was
be
like,
why
that's
AJ has so
Penelope.
many different names from me.
I'm sure. I have like nicknames for like every single one of my students, and even ones that I don't have. So I can completely relate to that. I like to keep my job at least for the next 13 school days, so I'm not going to share any of those names. But yeah.
Yeah, you just have like random, like my horse has like an official name, but then he's got like an array of pet names based on my mood and attitude towards him. Like, there's all, yeah, everybody's got multiple names.
There you go.
Okay. Any more of your random questions, AJ?
I'm questioned out.
Okay. Okay. So I've got 2 more. I know before we actually started recording, y'all had mentioned that y'all have a new item that you have just released or are getting ready to release.
I think we're going to say like our official release is like right now when this podcast is being released on
Okay.
this day, because it'll be, I don't know, 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
This day?
The 26th. Yep.
So
Friday the
But
26th.
today, when you're listening to this, will be like the official release date for our brand new product that we're bringing out. So we're all about sustainability and, you know, being eco-friendly. So we have had multiple versions of our hammocks before the ones that are on the market currently.
Okay.
So our version 1 and version 2 hammocks, we happen to have a lot of those sitting in his dad's garage. And so in order to get one of those car spots opened up, we are starting to refurbish those into beach blankets.
Oh, okay.
So they lay flat on the beach. They have little pockets on the corners. So you can fill the pockets with sand and lay on the beach. They're water resistant. They're sand resistant. They're stain resistant. They lay down in the wind because the sand holds them down. You have the little stuff sack to put, you know, your phone in to keep it out of the sun, snacks, whatever, away from birds. And then they pack down into the little stuff sack, throw them in your backpack. They only weigh, you know, a pound, I think.
Yeah, one pound,
Yeah.
0.14. for.
Yep. And so we're recycling our old hammocks into those, and
Awesome.
we have them for sale now, and they're super great, super easy to use.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Are they already on the website?
Yep, they're on MrMox.com.
Okay.
They have a really fun name because we like names here, like we were just talking about.
Right.
We should have had you two name it, maybe. But it's called the Saltwater Spreadsheet. So you can excel at the beach.
Oh, that's neat.
It's cheesy.
I
and
like
I
that.
love it.
I like that.
I like it.
I like it. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. All right. Actually, I lied. I now have 2 more questions.
Numbers are hard. It's okay.
I know.
Numbers are hard.
I know they are. They are. So I'm gonna be putting all the links in the show notes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But where all can people see y'all and reach y'all at? Like your Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah,
YouTube, whatever.
You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on TikTok.
Okay.
So just Mr. Mox Hammocks, Mr. MOCKS Hammocks
_Hammocks.
Hammocks.
Okay.
And you will find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And then
Okay.
also at MrMox.com. You can find everything that we have for sale. And you'll find a link from Skunkape for 10% off, and then free shipping for any products for all the people that are listening to this podcast.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. And now the final question, which is the question I ask everybody as a last question of the episode. And that is, what 3 tips would you give somebody that is new, just starting into hammock camping?
3 tips. I mean, that would all come down to setup, because, dealing with like the demographic that we've been dealing with, you get the occasional review of, I think one of them was, someone was like, your hammock's like a 10-foot bean pod because they hung the hammock up super tight. So my thing is just hang loose. That's what I always tell people. Hang the tree straps as high as you can get them, and then have your hammock hang down to where you're at tree height, and you're pretty much going to be comfortable every time. So if your hammock isn't comfortable, it's not because the hammock is uncomfortable, it's because you hung it wrong. That would be my...
Use the level indicators that are on all of our tree straps to try to hit that 30-degree angle, and then modify it from there.
Okay.
And you'll be better.
All right.
We have hammocks so much and researched this.
We run into a lot of people who like leave their hammock up in the backyard and stuff like that. It's like, just leave your hammock tree straps up. They'll be fine, but put your hammock away. Like, it takes 2 seconds. You could leave the carabiners on the clip so you know where you want them, but put your hammock away. Our hammocks have sun resistant, but the sun's brutal on everything, especially,
Right.
down in sunny states like you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of like what
else?
a third like big
For
tip.
like hammock camping? I don't know. So I would consider myself like a novice, even though like we own the company and stuff. Like, Weston spent like 100 days consecutive in a hammock outside. Like, he does this. I really we have a ridgeline organizer. It's like a little bag that goes on the ridgeline to like hold your stuff. That is like the best thing ever for me, because like I can't stay like organized in a hammock because I'm like awkward. So like I put my stuff up there so I can just like be in the hammock and then like get my stuff, instead of like, oh, there's something on the ground and then I have to like weirdly like flip over and then like feel like I'm falling out to like get something. Having like my stuff like right here is so much easier than like being awkward, because I am a genuinely awkward human naturally. So like getting rid of that awkwardness helps me.
Okay, so be organized. I like it.
I hate this. You hit me with that, and I can't think of like tips. As soon as we get off here, I'm gonna be like, in this tip, in this tip, in this tip, and you need to do this.
He'll write you a book.
Isn't that how it always works?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about making a YouTube series of the science of hanging, just like getting down into all the mathematical nitty-gritty of like getting a comfortable hang. So
There you go.
there'll be some
Okay.
good tips on that'll be coming out soon.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up because it's been an hour and 20 minutes so far.
Oh, it felt way longer than that.
See, I can keep going.
Yeah, I was like, I can talk forever.
Yeah, I could keep talking. I feel comfortable now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's warmed up. That's what he's saying.
He's warmed up. So, it was great having both of y'all join us on the show. We got to know y'all a little more, a little more about each of y'all, and, hearing more about, Mr. Mock's Hammocks and how the company got started and everything. And I'll have all the links in the show notes where everybody can, find you and all that. And everybody, don't forget, to show them some love and go to the Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and, follow them and send them a message, tell them, hey, and all that. Don't forget to follow the Hammock Hangers podcast on all the social media platforms as well. Also, go to our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thanks for joining us again for yet another episode of the podcast. And until next week, happy hanging, everyone.